Welcome, fellow wildlife avengers, to the Conservationists Assemble. My name is Jonny Bloxham, but here I am known as my alter ego, Captain Conservation, your friendly neighbourhood animal advocate. I am a former zookeeper with a passion for conservation education and the global efforts for threatened species and habitats around the world. I'm inviting you to join me as we take the fight to our planet's biggest villain and my arch-nemesis, extinction. Whether you're new to animal advocacy or a veteran in wildlife preservation, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I'll be teaming up with Earth's mightiest wildlife heroes to unify the greatest collaboration of conservationists ever known, where we will be discussing our planet's epic species and what is being done to save them. This is the Conservationists Assemble. Will you join the fight? Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Conservationists Assemble. How have you all been? What experiences with nature or thoughts about wildlife have you had this week? Maybe you visited a zoo or heard some wildlife news that sparked an emotion and got you thinking. If this is you and you want to share, you can join the fight by joining the conversation. Email me at conservationistassemble@outlook.com or on the podcast social media pages. I'm mixing it up this week. Rather than doing an episode about threatened species, this episode instead focuses on ocean health, but equally gives the voice to the younger generation to give a first-hand account of what their view of the world is. And here's why. Around 25% of the world's population are considered children and young adults. And we hear it time and again that young people are the leaders of the future. That's an undeniable fact. We certainly don't know and can't predict who those leaders might be, and more so, they might not even know themselves yet that they will one day become a leader of the future in some capacity. What we do know is that many of the young people on the planet today have concerns or feel overwhelmed about the impact of climate change and a decline in ocean health. In a world of climate injustice and a widespread disconnect from nature, it is crucial that we continue to think of ways to empower the younger generations, to equip them with the knowledge, skills, and above all else, the drive to cope with the challenges and realities of their future. This is the story of Oliver, Zilin and Sir Keith, part of the first LEGO League International STEM program, representing their team out of the United States. The first LEGO League introduces science, technology, engineering and maths to students aged 4 to 16 and inspires real-world problem-solving experience through discovery, innovation, inclusion, impact and teamwork. This season's theme is submerged, but better to hear it straight from those involved. Please welcome Oliver, Zilin and Sir Keith to the Conservationists Assemble. Oliver, Zilin and Sir Keith, thank you for joining me on the Conservationists Assemble today. We're here to talk about a project that you guys have been a part of on raising awareness of ocean health and specifically ocean acidification. But first of all, just explain to us how you guys got involved with this project.
So, we're part of a robotics competition called FLL, First LEGO League, and one of the parts of it is Innovation Project, and this year's theme or topic is submerged and is about the oceans. So we decided to make an educational program to teach the world about how the oceans are being mistreated and how if we don't help them, they will cause problems for us in the future.
And in getting involved in that program, what did you discover about our oceans?
Well, after knowing about our this year's prompt, we did a lot of research. We interviewed a lot of experts on problems about the oceans, but we eventually decided on spreading awareness. And we learned that humans are mistreating the oceans, for example, ocean acidification is a problem, overfishing is a problem, and which is important. So we're spreading awareness about these problems.
The oceans provide food for billions of humans and animals. They regulate climate and greenhouse gases, produce close to 7% of the oxygen. They help transfer goods between countries. They have many medicinal ingredients that help fight cancer, arthritis, and heart disease. Oceans also help the economy by providing jobs. And like you can find lots of minerals. It's very fun too. The oceans are also the birthplace to life.
That's a really good insight into the challenges that our oceans are facing, but also why they're important and why everyone should care about the oceans. So what effect did learning about ocean acidification and the other issues that they are facing have on your lives and perhaps the lives of your friends and family? Did they perhaps inspire you to make any changes to your lifestyle as a result of learning about this topic?
Well, one thing that we learned about is how straws easily pollute the ocean. So my family has started using metal straws over plastic straws because those very easily end up going into the ocean and they're single use. So when you use a metal straw, that you can use them more than once and you don't need to throw them away.
Through our research, we learned about the 8 Rs, which is refuse, reduce, reuse, refurbish, repair, repurpose, recycle, and rethink. And they're basically 8 words that can remind us about how to help our oceans and our global climate. So, for example, one thing that my family has done is that we've started collecting rainwater to water our plants instead of getting it straight from the faucet. So that'd be repurposing wasteful rainwater.
Like Oliver said, my family has stopped using plastic straws, and we've been starting using metal straws, and we've been strictly like no plastic straws.
Fantastic. And did you find that easier than perhaps you thought it might have been, or did you find it quite difficult? And do you think maybe there's a bit of work from companies or supermarkets to make accessing metal straws a bit easier, for example?
I think it was easier, except like suppose you like go to like a restaurant, they don't like have the metal straws, so you just like have to have it at home or like bring it if you need it.
And what surprised you most when you were researching ocean health?
We were shocked to learn how badly the oceans are being treated about the garbage patches, like the Great Pacific garbage patch, and there are more pieces of plastic than there are stars in the Milky Way. And almost every single piece of plastic that's ever been made is still here on Earth. We were also surprised to learn that the most found garbage in the ocean is plastic straws and cigarette butts, and that the V-shaped ship front it like scares most marine animals off. We also learned from the research that living in Pittsburgh, which is far away from the ocean, can also make a big difference. Like if we eat like a fish from the ocean and it was sick, it can affect us. Or if we throw plastic straws out, it'll one day eventually end up in the ocean.
Yeah, it's a great point to mention that even in cities or states that aren't next to the ocean, it doesn't mean that you can't have a negative impact on them. So yeah, it's a great point to mention there that even litter from those who don't live by the sea can still end up having a detrimental effect on them. So while it's such a serious topic and you guys obviously had fun in terms of making your YouTube video, which we will be providing a link to. Did you have fun researching such a serious topic?
It was an interesting experience, and we learned a lot of helpful information. Speaking to the experts was great because they got to tell us about problems that they face in their everyday lives working in the ocean, like having fish that have to move because of noise pollution or climate change. They have to swim north to colder waters. And we also got to learn about other people's lives and how they work in the oceans.
And alongside, learning about other people that are actively trying to promote healthier oceans and considering, how much of our planet is made up of water, are there any other issues around our natural world that you think are important and people need to be made more aware of?
One really big issue currently is climate change, which of course it's like related to ocean acidification and things like that. And it's also accelerating really quickly. Climate change is important because it can damage animals' habits and like they can change a lot about the climate and cause ocean acidification, which can harm marine animals. Um, and it's honestly like nowadays we can see climate change happening. For example, this year I feel like, or maybe this is just me personally, but I feel like winter came a lot later in the year than it was before. Like it started to snow in December when it would start later in when it used to start in like October or November. So yeah, climate change can also affect the ecosystem. It can melt glaciers and cause sea levels to rise, and it's very harmful.
Climate change also causes more hurricanes because the oceans are warmer and it makes more hurricanes, which can harm places. I know in places like Florida, they get a lot of hurricanes, and especially more recently, they've gotten more severe because of the warmer water and climate change.
So prior to doing this research, were any of you thinking about perhaps pursuing a career in science or around nature? And if not, after this research, has perhaps any inspiration to pursue further support for our oceans in terms of what you might want to do when you're older? Been a thought process that any of you have had?
I personally, since first grade, have been interested in pursuing a career around science, and it only got stronger when I got old, as I kept growing. Likewise, I'm pretty sure most of this research has influenced most of our team members to be more passionate about science and nature.
As we're talking about oceans, one of the key things that a lot of people have in interest is certain animals, whether that be a favourite animal. So have you got any favourite ocean animals that you learnt about were being affected by ocean acidification or just a degrading health in our oceans?
Some of our favorite ocean animals that are being affected are like lobsters and crabs because they have shells that are made of calcium. And when calcium reacts with acidic substances, it can disintegrate, which is really bad for the animals because their shells are like their homes and they protect them a lot and with like camouflage and stuff like that. And when these animals, their shells get disintegrated, it's really bad for them.
I like dolphins. They get affected because like the warmer climate pushes their food away, like their prey, and it makes them harder to catch some food. And so dolphins get affected a lot too with like nets.
So before doing research, this wasn't one of my favorite animals, but after research, I have learned more about this animal and I like it now. The beluga whale. One of the experts that we interviewed, Lisa Lapointe, she was in San Diego and she saw a beluga whale, which aren't supposed to live in that area. She saw one, and because of climate change, it swam south and was later found dead because it got caught in a fishing net and it was stuck on a beach in a fishing net.
So yeah, it's a real shame. Obviously, it's great that you guys have got these attachments to these species and this fondness. But yeah, it's obviously a real shame that humans are having such an impact on these species. So yeah, I think you guys have given us a really good insight into what you learned and what you gained from doing this project, but also how much it's inspired you or how much it's made you learn about the state of our planet's oceans and why we should be protecting them. So thank you very much for teaming up with me to shed some light on ocean acidification and ocean health, and of course to highlight your guys' work with the first Lego League Like I say, we'll be sharing a link to your video, so hopefully all of our listeners will watch and share that as well, as we want to help boost the project that you guys spent a lot of hard work on. So do you have any last messages for our listeners?
A final thing to say is the oceans are essential to human life, and if we don't go and help them from being polluted and ocean levels rising, it would not be good for us.
Yeah, adding on to Oliver, the oceans are very crucial for our life, and without the oceans, we wouldn't be here.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, I'm going to let you guys get back to your day. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you and learn about what you guys have taken from the project. And yeah, wish you all the best with the rest of your time in the first LEGO League.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, be sure to check out the full YouTube video of Oliver, Zillian, Keith and the rest of their first LEGO League teammates. Give the video a share to help raise the awareness of ocean health and spread their hard work and research. And if you are interested in learning about how to empower children more in climate and ocean health, I've provided the link to an awesome research paper in the show notes. Of course, a huge shout out to you, my fellow wildlife avengers, for tuning in. If you enjoyed this volume of the podcast and wish to join the fight, please follow, subscribe and rate the podcast wherever you stream from. Please also follow it on social media to stay up to date with the podcast's latest developments and share with your family and friends to help stack the odds in conservation's favour. Don't forget, you can join the fight by joining the conversation. Share your thoughts and suggestions on this episode, past episodes or future episodes via email at conservationistassemble@outlook.com or Instagram at conservationistassemblepod. If you have any strategies that helped you or others around you be inspired to improve our planet's health, or conversely, any nature or wildlife queries that you want clarity on, emailing or messaging on social media are the places to send those thoughts to. Conservation truly is a global effort, and that starts with every single one of us. We don't need one or two people acting for conservation or sustainability perfectly. We need the efforts of millions, if not billions, being open to making changes in their lifestyle habits for the collective of our planet. Be sure to tune in to the next fantastic episode. Until then, this is Captain Conservation signing off. Over and out.